airline crash fatalities.
New research finds public school students continue to lose ground on reading skills and have made little improvement in math. The National Assessment of Educational Progress looks at data from 4th and 8th graders and is often referred to as the nation's report card. Meanwhile, policy analyst Corey DeAngelis has an idea on how to improve things.
School choice competition could reverse this trend. It's a rising tide that lifts all boats. When families can vote with their feet, the public schools up their game in response to competition.
There have been many instances lately of athletes praising God and Jesus Christ. Bronson Woodruff looks at a few examples.
Millions of people watch professional and college sports, which means they see when athletes acknowledge the Lord. Here's Orlando Magic forward Jonathan Isaac.
But God has been good to me. Better to me than I've been to him. So I'm grateful for his grace and his mercy and his love, and I just keep going at it.
This is American mixed martial arts fighter John Jones.
While everybody's cheering and so happy, I want to acknowledge Jesus Christ. I cannot take credit for a gift like this, man. I really owe it all to him. And I know that there's millions of people around the world watching right now. And I just want to let you guys know that Jesus loves you so much. That's all I'll say about that.
AFN talked with Mike Block, Executive Vice President of Pro and Elite Sports for the Fellowship of Christian Athletes. He said he thinks social media has played a big role in this.
I think when you look at social media, you have a lot of athletes, collegiate athletes, professional athletes that get a lot of followings right now. And athletes, through their social media platform, they have direct access to the media and to fans.
He said a search will show you Ohio State guys getting baptized on campus, for example. Block reflected on his own experience as well.
Being a young Christian in college, I remember it like yesterday. I got to Auburn University as a freshman. I went to my first FCA meeting. I walk into this meeting. I see one of our massive 6'9" offensive linemen with his hands up, praising Jesus Christ, giving God all the honor, all the glory, all the praise. And so for me, that helped me to be even more bold, even more courageous about my faith.
He said he thinks we're seeing the same thing in athletes today. Names mentioned included Patrick Mahomes, Jaden Daniels, and more. I'm Bronson Woodruff.
More news online at afn.net. I'm Rusty P.
Streaming.afa.net has now become AFA Stream, and you can find it at stream.afa.net. You see, we removed the letters ing. Our experts have determined that eliminating those 3 keystrokes, multiplied over hundreds of thousands of AFA Stream visits, could reduce the national debt and maybe increase the gross domestic product. AFA Stream, formerly streaming.afa.net. Improvements to the economy are purely theoretical. This is Trivia Friday. The number to call with your question or your answer to a question is 888-589-8840.
At the rate of inflation, what would the $6 million man be worth today?
That's a good question.
But the lady sent me the wrong shirt. The one I got had Huey, Dewey, and Louie on the front of it.
At least he didn't say, Larry, Moe, and Curly.
Yeah.
Well, good morning. For those of you that are on this side of the planet, anyway, it is Trivia Friday. It is Friday, January 31st, last day of the month. Ed Vitagliano sitting in for Tim Wildman. I am joined by J.J. Jasper. Good morning, J.J.
Good morning. Great to be here.
And Brother Bert Harper, who is back in the saddle, stepping in as our kind of substitute professor. Good
Substitute
morning.
Is right. Not a pinch hitter, but a substitute. 2025. Here we come.
We love having Brother Bert. So
Amen.
Let the Andy Griffith questions
commence.
Yeah, that's right. Even an avalanche. Brother Bert, between Brother Bert and Ed, we can take them.
Hey, guys, what do you think? It's already last day of January.
Yeah.
What a month this has been. We had the inauguration of a new president. We've had all kinds of things happening in the last less than 2 weeks. We've had wildfires. We've had storms. It has just been a crazy month. And I don't know if this is any indication of how 2025 is going to go, but it's been a blur so far.
It's flown by, and now you see why January 1, I held up my coffee cup and offered a toast. May your troubles last as long as your New Year's resolutions.
How many of them have you broken already,
That's
JJ?
right.
Yeah,
a couple more weeks, and I'll be like the guy that said he was on his way to the gym, realized he had misplaced his badge, his gym card, and the replacement's $10. He said, coffee and a donut was $6. He said, guess who saved $4?
Well, folks, it is Trivia Friday, and this is the way we try to do a little edumacating, as Tim would say. We three professors have 3 questions each. That's what we start off the show with. We're going to read those questions to you. We invite you to call in to answer one of those and to ask us one of your own. The number to call is 888-589-8840. That's the number to call to get on this show. And we ask that if you have been on the program with us in the last 2 months, the last 8 weeks, we ask that you wait a week and let somebody else maybe call in. We try to get as many new people onto the air with us as we can. 888-589-8840. You need to be 11 years old or older to call in. JJ, one of these 9 questions is pretty special.
One is a mystery question. These original 9, if you happen to land on it and answer it correctly, you'll hear this sound. Ah, the beloved cowbell. That means you win yourself a nice AFR cap. I'm holding it up. If people want to watch as well as listen, what do they need to do, Ed?
Well, they can go to either Facebook or YouTube and search for Today's Issues. That is normally the name of our program. I think on YouTube it's Today's Issues Live. Or you can go to our own streaming platform, stream.afa.net. And we have the live stream of not only this program, but other live programs as you progress through the day.
And back to the cap, that is a great-looking AFR cap. It's brand new. We've only had it for a couple of months out. And if somebody doesn't win, they can get a sweatshirt, a cap, books,
videos,
DVDs. That's right, by going to our store.
Resources.afa.net, resources.afa.net. The number to call again, 888-589-8840. It is Trivia Friday day. Brother Bert, we always let you go first, and then I'll go, and JJ, and then we'll hit the road.
Okay. Super Bowl's coming up, guys. So
yes, sir.
Here's a Super Bowl question. Listen carefully. Which city has hosted the most Super Bowls? Okay?
Oh, good question.
Which city has hosted the most Super Bowls? Here's the Bible question. What is Moses' mother's name?
Oh,
what is
question.
the name of Moses' mother? You'll find that in the Old Testament. And then Andy Griffith.
Here we go.
Is that all right?
Gotta have one.
Okay.
We'd be disappointed if you didn't have one.
Besides sheriff, what other office did Andy hold in Mayberry?
Oh.
He drew 2 paychecks. I don't know how they handled that in Mayberry. Yeah. And he reported to his office every day.
Yes.
Hey, I like that.
And if he was double dipping, he could have worked for the federal government.
That's
our federal
exactly
government.
right. All he had,
second jobs.
had this little name thing. On one side it said sheriff, and on the other side it said the other
his
office.
other job.
Oh, that's right.
Go to which one?
All right, here are my 3 questions. First question. Most people have heard of Dr. Phil, the popular psychologist and talk show host. What is Dr. Phil's last name? Second question, football question. How many NFL quarterbacks have won 3 straight Super Bowls? How many NFL quarterbacks have won 3 straight Super Bowls? And then third question, the upcoming Super Bowl is, in Roman numerals, LIX. What number is that? In the regular numbers we use. The upcoming Super Bowl is LIX. What number is that? That's pretty easy, but we have to throw a couple of easy questions in to get us started.
Don't put it in cursive. Right.
That's right.
Y'all were talking about cursive and Roman. Who knows it these days?
Right.
Well,
we're going to find out.
That's right. Well, listen, we're having fun this morning. That's what we do, hard-hitting issues throughout the week, and then we just let our hair down and laugh. But I think all of us need to acknowledge that terrible crash in Washington, D.C. We've been saying that throughout the day on the air yesterday as well. 67 people lost their life. That's all those families and neighbors and church members and coworkers grieving. So please remember to pray for the families of those 67 American Eagle flight, as well as that U.S. Army Black Hawk helicopter.
Amen.
So, you feel a little guilty having fun, but we do want to acknowledge that. We have yesterday and today, and we will throughout the the coming weeks. They're really going to need prayers and support. So here's my questions. First question, in what part of your body would you find the fissure of Rolanda? In what part of your body would you find the fissure of Rolanda? Now, don't think Fisher with the Zebco standing out there on the front of the bass boat fishing. It's Fissure.
And if you sold it, would that be the Fisher price?
Well, here's the deal. You don't worry about selling it as much as you do about throwing it out. If you're helping some buddies move a couch and one of you's got a pickup truck and in the middle of moving that big old heavy couch, you say, boys, I done throwed out the Fisher and my Fisher of Rolanda. You're going to be down for the weekend. Ain't no doubt about it. You're going to need ice or heat. One, I ain't no chiropractor, but they can tell you for sure. Here's the second question. What was the uniform number of baseball legend Willie Mays? What was Willie Mays' number? And third question, how many U.S. states are called commonwealths? There are some states that are actually technically commonwealths and not states. We say 50 states, but there are a handful that are commonwealths. Yep. Name them.
All right.
Are y'all ready?
Right, we're ready. Let's go.
Okay, the first caller, Bill in Virginia. Welcome, Bill.
Hi.
Yes.
Good morning.
Well, good morning. It's good to be the first caller today. Do you want to answer or ask or both?
I'll do both.
Okay. Have you picked out the question you want to answer?
You got some tough ones today.
Oh, wow. Yes. Well, go ahead. Try one of the tough ones then.
Well, I guess I'll go for the easy one, which is LIX.
All right, here, let me repeat the question, Bill. The upcoming Super Bowl is in Roman numerals, LIX. What number is that, Bill?
That's 59.
It is.
Wonderful.
Way to
go. Bill, I bet you can write in cursive, too.
Yeah, sorry, we didn't hear the beloved cowbell on that one, but great job answering.
Yeah, way to start us out with the correct answer. What's your question for us, Bill?
What is the Gadsden Purchase?
Okay. Man, that's down in New Mexico.
Really?
Yeah.
Way to go.
Yeah, right there. I forgot how many counties and how many feet, but
does it include Arizona?
I think it does. Arizona and New Mexico, right there from Mexico.
Bert, that's a great history question because everybody knows Louisiana Purchase.
No, what is that?
That's right. That little slice of land there.
Yeah.
But then I actually had never heard of the Gadsden Purchase.
Gadsden Purchase.
Can you give us more specifics, Bill?
Yeah, it runs from California all the way across Arizona and New Mexico, almost, if not totally, to El Paso.
Yeah.
Wow.
Right there.
Right.
And it's a narrow narrow comparatively looking at the United States. And so it was a very important purchase.
We gave Mexico an offer they couldn't refuse.
That's right.
So,
hey, Alaska, Louisiana, Gadsden, what do they all have in common?
Maybe Greenland.
Greenland's coming next.
Who knows?
All right, thanks, buddy. Have a great weekend.
Okay, Bill. Let's go to Mississippi and talk to Haywood. Haywood, thank you for calling.
Well, good morning, professors. Good to be with you again.
Yes. Okay. Do you want to ask, answer, or both?
I'd like to do both.
Okay. Which question?
The Bible question, Moses' mother's name.
Okay. What is Moses' mother's name?
Hosheba.
That is exactly right.
Wow.
It would be said Yosheba. It's spelled with a J.
Jochebed.
Yeah, Jochebed or Yosheba. You can do either way, but Jochebed, you pronounce the J, but in real Hebrew, the J is not pronounced, and it gets the Y sound.
Now you
Good on you.
Now
Haywood.
you confuse me because I've been eating those jalapeno peppers for so long. But now I don't know. I might have to rethink that.
My wife played something for me that she'd found. It was a guy that goes around and pronounces the letters that English leaves out, like those, those.
Tucson, Arizona.
Yes, Tucson, and that guy's hilarious. It was funny. I just loved it.
You'll have to send me. Please send that to me.
Yeah. Okay. Haywood, what's your question for us?
Well, I got a Bible question for you two.
Oh, me. We
Brother
need
Bert
Alex
and
Harlan here for
Brother
sure.
Bert and Ed are ready. A couple of pastors.
That's false humility. JJ's just as good as we are. Go ahead, Haywood.
Okay, there is a chapter in the Bible that mentions the same verse 26 times.
There are two
What
psalms.
chapter and verse?
There are two psalms that are identical, almost word for word.
Okay,
identical.
I'm not understanding the question, Haywood. Could you repeat that? There's a chapter in the Bible that what?
It tells us the same thing 26 times in this particular chapter.
Psalm 119 would
that's
be a
my
good
guess.
Yes, because it does repeat itself as it goes through there. What is it? Are you going to stick to that?
No, I think because Psalm 119 is the longest, and it talks about the precept, the law, your word, and it does repeat. But I was thinking about those two psalms that are mirror psalms. What's the answer, Haywood?
Psalms 136, it says, "For his mercy endureth forever." 26 times.
Okay.
That's right. And it'll give another thing, and then it's almost one of those cooperative where you were saying something and the congregation was responsive reading. Hey, thanks, buddy. Have a great weekend. Thanks for listening to AFR.
Great.
Yeah. Okay. Y'all ready to go to Texas, guys?
Let's go to Texas.
Let's go to Cassie in Texas. Welcome, Cassie.
Good morning.
Good morning. I just got to ask, Texas is so big. Are you part of the Gadsden Purchase?
No, but I just enjoyed that question. I learned something new.
Okay.
I did as well, Cassie.
Yeah, I'm in the Dallas. I'm in the Dallas area.
Oh wow, Big D.
Who isn't nowadays? I mean, Dallas is so big.
I know, but no, it's getting too crowded. Well, they're mostly moving up to McKinney, like Plano area, McKinney and Frisco.
Yeah.
So I think we're still okay down here.
Okay.
My sister lives in Frisco. I have one of my sisters.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Frisco.
it's nice. It's nice up there. Yeah, it's nice up there, yeah.
Well, Cassie, you want to ask, answer, or do both?
I'll do both.
All right. Which question would you like to answer?
I will try that Andy Griffith question.
Okay.
All right.
I've been on here several times, and only one time did I ask the Andy Griffith question. It did not get answered.
Really?
Yeah, there's a lot of fans.
Yeah, so there's a lot of fans. So I think you can get this one. Besides sheriff, what other office did Andy hold in Mayberry?
Well, I'm going to go with, justice of the peace.
That is correct. Way to go.
Oh, yoo-hoo. Okay.
Yeah. Now, where it got...
He used to marry people.
Yeah. Where it got started was the Danny Thomas show was,
right.
It was a spinoff of that. Danny Thomas was going through there, and the sheriff arrested him, and he wanted to go to court about it. So Andy brought him to the courthouse, and he had his sheriff, name there, and he just flipped it over and said, "Justice of the peace."
And that was on the Danny Thomas show.
Thomas show.
Wow.
And then the Andy Griffith show got a spinoff from that episode.
Exactly. And what happened?
I didn't know that.
Don Knotts had played No Time for Sergeants.
Yes.
And when he heard Andy got this show, he said, "Doesn't a good sheriff need a deputy?" And he came down and played Barney Fife.
Wow.
Because I remember that movie.
No Time for Sergeants. And there it's right the opposite. Andy is the country bumpkin, and Barney, or he's not Barney, but Don Knotts plays, well, he's not quite straight.
He's like a psychologist.
He's a psychologist giving him all the
tests.
You're giving all this trivia and the backstory. Sheriff and Justice of the Peace. Then in the colorized new ones, at one point, right as it was going off, probably you won't remember this episode, he opened up a tattoo parlor. and this was back when people they just had a heart and said, "I love Mom." So it was pretty simple art.
Yeah.
But that was, he launched a whole new career.
Yeah, I don't
Did you miss it? Did you
I don't remember that episode.
Did you miss that episode?
I think it got canceled after the first episode.
Wow.
Okay, I didn't see it on the reruns. Hey, you got a question for us, Cassie?
I do. Let's see. What state in America has the most lighthouses, and how many lighthouses does it have?
All right. Hang on, Cassie. We're going to talk
say
amongst ourselves.
Maine, but we just took a trip from Mississippi to Maine a couple of summers ago. Boy, those lighthouses in Maine were spectacular.
I think we've had this question before, and I thought it would be Maine, but I think it's something you don't think about.
Oh, we did have
possibly
that.
North Carolina?
I think it's something around Grand
like
Banks
that.
or something.
Like the Outer Banks. We were thrown off on that.
Yeah.
Let's go North Carolina, Outer Banks.
Go ahead, Cassie. Which one?
Well, I'm sorry that you had it before, but I was surprised about this. It's Michigan. And it has 100.
No, that's what it was. It was something that threw us off. We don't
115.
remember it, Cassie. It was like 5 years or
I
so
wasn't
ago.
on that show.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, it was 100. They have 115 lighthouses. It's up around the Great Lakes.
Wow.
That's right, because
area.
it was
That's
something
remarkable.
just that you just wouldn't think
Yeah.
about. And I must have missed that show because I was getting a tattoo at
with
Andy Griffith's tattoo parlor.
That's right. Hey, Cassie, have a great weekend. Thank you so much for listening to AFR.
Okay.
Hey, guys, let's go ahead and
okay.
reset our questions, and then we'll continue on taking callers.
Okay, I'll need to add two. And here's my first one. Which city has hosted the most Super Bowls? Which president served in Congress after his time in the White House?
Good
Yeah,
question.
there's one that did that.
Public servant. You don't
Yeah.
see too many of those
That's
these
right.
days.
Now, here I love animal groups and what they're called. It's just kind of something. What is a group of flamingos called? What is a group of flamingos called?
That's good.
That's I don't know what it's called, but you can find them at my neighbor's yard.
Yeah.
They must fly.
They're called.
They're not stick.
They're called Florida yard ornaments.
Yes. All right, here are my three. Most people have heard of Dr. Phil, the popular psychologist and talk show host. What is Dr. Phil's last name? Second question, how many NFL quarterbacks have won 3 straight Super Bowls? And I'll add one. In 1954, the U.S. launched the first nuclear-powered submarine. What was its name? What was the name of the U.S. first nuclear-powered submarine launched in 1954?
Good questions. Here's what I've got. In what part of your body would you find the fissure of Rolando? F-I-S-S-U-R-E.
I have never heard this. That's amazing.
Well, then you haven't had a thorough checkup. You wait till you turn 65.
It's got to be on the banks or something.
That's right. You wait till you have a complete physical. You just got that little cursory thing when you're an athlete.
Yeah, there you go.
What was the second question? What was the number of baseball legend Willie Mays? What was the number on his uniform? Third question, true or no, not true or false. Third question, how many U.S. states are called commonwealths? How many U.S. states are called commonwealths?
Okay, we got our questions. We got time. Let's go to Tennessee. Brian, thank you for calling.
Hey, how are you doing?
Doing well. Do you want to answer, ask, or both, Brian?
Both.
Okay, which question?
The Willie Mays question.
All right, sports fan. Here's the question. What was the uniform number of baseball legend Willie Mays?
24.
24.
Say
Nicely
hey,
done.
that's right.
Did you know that? I know you did, Brother Bert. Did you know that, Ed?
I thought it was 54.
Yeah.
I would have got it wrong.
You're thinking car 54.
Yes, where are you?
Tootie and Muldoon.
When you need them.
Yeah. Hey, way to go, Brian. What's your question for us?
Mine is football related. How wide is a football field? Not how long, but how wide is a football field?
You know, that's good because we know 100 yards, but you don't think too much about it being, it's a rectangle. You don't think about how narrow it is.
Man.
If I were guessing, and it is a guess, I'm thinking about, the dimensions of it.
Right.
Have to be close to 40 yards, would it not? Because it's not half. It's more than a third, it looks like, than that. I don't know. I'm just guessing.
Yeah.
Maybe
I wouldn't guess. So narrow
I don't
to
think
me, it looks
I don't
like.
think it'd be more than that.
Oh, it's not going to be more than that because it's not a square. It's a pretty long rectangle. I'm thinking 25, like almost a fourth. But what did you say, Brother Bert?
I said 40.
I think
I'm going to say 30.
Yeah, I'm going to go with 40. My first thought was 50. So I'll just say 50, 40. You got, would you say
30?
30.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
All right, what's the answer?
Is it an odd number?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Go ahead, Brian. What is it?
It's 53.3 yards or 160 feet wide.
Well, that was just
you were like us. You were right.
Yeah. Wow.
Way to go.
Well, it just popped in my head, but that doesn't mean I knew it. Well, it was just kind of just an odd guess.
Here's the deal. It's half as wide as it is long. You get turned around, get a little bit of a concussion. You might think you're going to the end zone. You could be going any which way.
Well, actually, it's not 100 yards long. It's 120 because the end zone is 10 yards. So thinking about that is a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So,
Great
that
trivia.
makes me feel better.
Well,
about
you'd think everybody would know that as much football as people watch. Way to go, Brian. Have a great weekend. Thanks for listening to AFR.
Okay. We'll try one more. Is that or?
Well, I'll tell you what.
Okay.
We're going to take our break now. JJ, are you heading anywhere?
Thank you for asking. I sure am. I'd appreciate prayers. Next Tuesday, I'm going to be speaking at Bellevue Baptist Church. Adrian Rogers. Adrian Rogers, his church. It's a conference, 4 speakers. I'm honored and privileged to be one of the speakers.
That's wonderful.
It is.
February the 16th, Locksburg First Baptist Church. You're invited if you're nearby. And February the 23rd, Marietta Springs Community Church in Marietta, Mississippi.
Where's Locksburg at?
Locksburg is in Arkansas.
Arkansas. Okay.
Yes. And then Melanie and I are both going to be, they invited both of us to Marietta Springs Community Church, formerly Marietta United Methodist Church in Mississippi. They want us to share our story about our son Cooper.
Wow.
The hope and faithfulness of God even after that tragedy.
Great opportunities. Folks, check that out if you get a chance. We'll be right back after this short break. Hope you join us.
It's my turn.
Here is your host for My Turn, Don Wildman.
In the Gospel of Luke, Jesus had these words to say, "But I say to you that hear, love your enemies, do good to those who hate you." Edwin Stanton lived from 1814 to 1869. He was a nervous, cranky, and contradictory lawyer who worked his way up after dropping out of college because of a lack of funds. Stanton served as the Attorney General in the cabinet of President James Buchanan. Stanton also was a sharp critic of Abraham Lincoln and had many unkind words for the man who followed Buchanan as the President of the United States. He often spoke of Lincoln as a low, cunning clown, and even nicknamed him the original gorilla. Stanton went so far as to suggest to a famous hunter of the time that he was a fool to wander over Africa trying to catch a gorilla when he could have easily found one in Springfield, Illinois. Well, after Lincoln was elected president, he was influential in acquiring a post as legal advisor to Simon Cameron, Secretary of War for Stanton. Even after this favor, Stanton continued his harsh criticism of Lincoln. Many people were shocked when Lincoln appointed Stanton as the Secretary of War following the resignation of Cameron. It was hard for them to understand why Lincoln would give such a high, important post to a man who had continually criticized him and his policy. While Stanton was treating Lincoln in such a manner, Lincoln continued to show Stanton every courtesy. He never spoke to him harshly or returned hateful remarks with hateful remarks. Lincoln appointed Stanton to the job of Secretary of War for one simple reason. Stanton was the best man for the job. Lincoln knew this and did not let the ugliness of Stanton stop him from making the appointment. On the night of April the 14th, 1865, Lincoln was watching a play entitled Our American Cousin from a box at Ford's Theater in Washington. During the play, a man by the name of John Wilkes Booth entered the box where Lincoln was sitting and shot the president in the head. During the confusion that followed, Lincoln was carried to a little room where an attempt was made to save his life. Into that room that night came several people. They watched, stunned, as their president lay dying. Among those who were there was Edwin Stanton, the man who had been so harsh and critical of the president, despite the fact that the president had shown him every courtesy and kindness. Looking down at the rugged form of a gentle man, Stanton spoke through tears. "There lies the greatest ruler of men the world has ever seen," he said. You know, Jesus once said, "Love your enemies and pray for your persecutors and those who treat you spitefully." Stanton had learned the hard way that this was the highest and noblest way of living ever given to mankind, and his criticism was finally silenced by love.
This has been My Turn with Don Wildman, a production of the American Family Association.
Hello, everyone. I'm Tim Wildman, president of American Family Association and American Family Radio. Hey, just returned from the presidential inauguration of President Trump and Vice President Vance. And let me tell you something, folks. There's an excitement in the air among millions and millions and millions of Americans who are ready for some common sense changes to come to our country. Guess what? We're going to Washington, D.C. again for our Spiritual Heritage Tour in June and September. We're over halfway full. If you want to go with us to see our nation's capital from a distinctively Christian heritage viewpoint, then you need to contact us. You need to go to wildmangroup.com, WILDMON group.com. We're also going to Colonial Williamsburg, Jamestown, and Yorktown. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to Boston in October. For information on any of these tours, go to wildmangroup.com, WILDMON group.com.
In him we were also chosen, having been predestined according to the plan of him who works out everything in conformity with the purpose of his will. Ephesians 1:11.
American Family Radio.
Welcome back to Trivia Friday. Ed Vitagliano sitting in for Tim Wildman, Brother Bert Harper, J.J. Jasper, Brent Creeley, our producer. All four of us forgot to come up with a song at the bottom of the hour coming back in the break. All four of us are getting old. Now, Brent and J.J. and I, we have an excuse. Brent's still young.
Well, all four of us are still amazed that a football field is 50 yards wide.
Yeah.
And I was mentioning it in the hall to some serious sports fans, and I asked them, and they all had wrong guesses. And then when I said 50, they said, "There's no way."
Yes.
So we're learning stuff here on
That's right.
Learning University.
Big time learning. I guess we'll forgive Brent since we're as guilty as he is. I'll tell you what, Bert. Why don't you sing? Why don't you hum the theme song to Bonanza?
Oh man, yeah.
There you go.
I love Bonanza. Hey, that's
all
it.
right. Well, we've already reset our questions. Let's go past the phones.
Let's go to Iowa and talk to Jill. Jill, thank you for calling today.
Well, thank you for taking my call.
Yeah. Well, what part
I'm
of
the
Iowa?
one that's been trying for 9 years to get through to you. I'm so excited right now.
9 years. Wow.
Hey, Jill, usually Tim Wildman and Ed, they do this, but because of your tenacity, because of your stick-to-itiveness, we're going to go ahead and send you an AFR cap. How, would that be okay?
Well, praise the Lord, sure.
Okay.
Sure.
Well, you stay on the line just because you've been so faithful to keep trying.
9 years.
And so stay on the line after we're through.
9 years.
Wow.
Well, now, folks,
I don't even remember who was president back then.
I do say this
I think it was Barack Obama.
Okay.
I don't know.
Whenever we do give a free cap for that kind of tenacity, I do want to point out that if you call in and say, "Well, I've been calling for 10 years. This is the one time we're going to do it for the show," and Jill just struck gold. That's all we can say.
AFR cap lottery. You just won.
So, Jill, when we get through with you on the radio, stay on the line, and we'll put you on hold, and then Cindy Roberts will get your information, and we'll get you a ball cap and put it in the mail.
Yeah. So ask, answer,
awesome.
Or do both, dear.
I will do both.
Which one you feel confident about?
None of them. The ones that have already been answered.
Right, the ones that have already been answered.
I should know.
Exactly.
I should know how many Commonwealths, but I don't. I think I know Dr. Phil's last name.
All right, let me go ahead and
Here we go.
Ask the question again for those just tuning in, Jill, most people have heard of Dr. Phil, the popular psychologist and talk show host. What is Dr. Phil's last name? What say you, Jill?
Is it McGraw?
It is.
Wow.
It is.
Honestly,
McGraw.
what is it?
It's McGraw.
I don't know that I've ever heard that. Wow.
Well, I just saw it on something. This is just the way my mind thinks because we do Trivia Friday every Friday. I was reading an article, and it mentioned Dr. Phil, and it said Dr. Phil McGraw, and I thought, I didn't know that, so I'm going to toss that in as a question.
Okay, way to go,
How did you know,
Jill?
Jill? Did you are you a fan of the show? Or
Well, no, not at all. Not even a little bit. Honestly, I don't know. I heard it in passing. When you were reading the questions, I went, I think it's McGraw or McGrew, and I don't have any idea. I evidently, same as you, I must have heard it sometime, and it just stuck.
At least it wasn't Magoo.
Yes,
right.
Magoo.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, Mr. Magoo. That'd be bad. Yeah.
What's your way to go? What's your question for us?
And I have envisioned this for so long, and I have total stage fright. The only thing I can even think of is the name of, on the movie The Wizard of Oz, what is the name of Professor Marvel's horse?
Professor Marvel's horse. That's a deep dive into some Wizard of Oz trivia.
Wait a second. It is some kind of strange. Now his. Okay, no, I think I'm getting this mixed up. Not talking about the horse when they take him in to go get all made up and their hair done or anything.
No, you need to back up. Back up. When Dorothy runs away, we're still in black and white.
Oh, okay. Because that's what he had on the side of his wagon, Mr. Marvel. I don't know. You
Man,
guys
I have no
We're
idea.
stumped. What's the answer?
Isn't it great? Sylvester.
Sylvester.
Now,
Okay.
how do you know that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, my daughter loved the movie, and I was forced to watch it repeatedly.
Forced to watch
After he got done reading, the storm comes up. He got done reading her fortune, and she ran back to the farm. And he said, he grabbed a hold of the horse and said, "Come on, Sylvester. Well, the poor kid, I hope she makes it. Come on, Sylvester." That's it.
Wow,
Okay.
one little throwaway line in
Yeah.
the movie, and you remember that. Great.
It is.
Hey.
Well, listen, thank you again for trying so hard, not giving up. You got rewarded for that. Stay on the line.
Amen.
So they can get your address.
Put you on hold.
Way to
And,
go,
way
Jill.
to go, Jill.
Okay, let's go to Arkansas and talk to Arnold. Arnold, thank you for calling.
Hey, morning, professors. How are we this morning?
Doing well.
Blessed, Arnold.
You want to ask,
That's
answer,
great,
or do
that's
both?
great. I'm going to do both.
All right. Which question you want to try to answer?
Well, I'm going to answer the 4 Commonwealths.
All right. Hey, Arnold, here's the question. But before that, are you anywhere near Locksburg, Arkansas? And then in March, I'm going to be in Cabot, Arkansas. You anywhere close to?
I live in Texas. You met my buddy Bobby up in
I
Bonham a
sure
few
did.
months
This is
ago.
Arnold, the truck
Yeah.
driver. I got
Okay.
to meet him when I was
Yeah.
in Texas speaking at a pregnancy resource center. I brought my daughter Tegan. It was her very first time to ever fly in an airplane and her first time to be in Texas.
Oh, wow.
She's wished Texas had been a little bigger, but you can't have everything.
I love his
That's
attitude.
right, that's right.
You asked which one do you try to answer, and he said the one I'm going to answer.
I
Did you
like
notice
it.
that?
I like
Way
it.
to go,
Yes.
Arnold.
All right, Arnold. Here, hey, and tell your buddy I said hello again. I left him a
I'll do
message.
it.
You remember I left him a message on his voicemail.
You left me the message. I didn't get to meet you because I was out on the road, but he met you, my buddy Bobby.
I met Bobby, and then we called you, and I left you a message on
Right,
your
you called me
answering
left,
sheet.
which I still have, by the way, because it picked me up.
Oh, thank you.
wow.
Well, our listeners, when we say American Family Association, American Family Radio, we really do mean it.
We do.
You're really more than
Amen.
just a
We do.
friend on the other side of the
Bobby and-
radio. All right.
Bobby and I are planning a trip to come see you guys in a couple month or two.
Wow,
we would
excellent.
love that. Please let us know, and we'll be here and give you a tour. Hey, Arnold, here's the question: how many U.S. states are called commonwealths?
There's 4 of them.
Can you
And
name
they
them?
are Massachusetts, Kentucky, Pennsylvania, and Massachusetts, Kentucky, Pennsylvania, Oh, man, I know the last one, too. Hold on. Give me I had to look the last one up because I knew three of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kentucky, Massachusetts, Pennsylvania, and I'll help you out, Virginia.
Yeah, it is.
And then
Virginia, that's it, yeah.
a little bit of a postscript. Vermont and Delaware occasionally will put both of those in, like on brochures and
Commonwealth and state.
Yeah, sometimes they'll mention the Commonwealth of Vermont or the Commonwealth of Delaware, but only rarely and occasionally. So the ones that people know that are locked in, it's the ones he mentioned: Kentucky, Massachusetts, Pennsylvania, and Virginia.
Since you're from Kentucky, what's the difference in a state and a Commonwealth?
I'm glad you asked. I did a little backstory. There's other than the name, there's really no legal or governmental difference between states known as states and states known as commonwealths. And then they just say, it's for the commonwealth of the good. But during the English Civil War, England became a commonwealth after the office of the king and the House of Lords were abolished. Then, according to the Virginia history, Virginia also adopted the Commonwealth designation until it became a royal colony again in 1660 when the English monarchy was reestablished. The term was reintroduced when Virginia adopted its constitution in 1776, and it meant commonweal, but the common wellness,
like well-being,
for to say we're not a king and a queen. We're for the common, and because they wanted Virginia got it started, the others, and then you say Virginia, Massachusetts. Well, how did Kentucky? They were kind of an oddball, not being one of the original. Well, Kentucky used to be a part of Virginia, and so that's where all that came from.
That all makes sense.
Commonwealth. There's the backstory.
Well, I thank you. I always wondered that.
That was
That's
a little
good.
bit wordy, but it goes back to the English, and then it is the common WEAL,
commonweal.
But the commonweal, the common wellness of the people, and then of course they say that Puerto Rico, some others do that as well, but these are the states.
Okay.
That's good learning.
It is.
That's good
Man.
education.
Way to go, Arnold.
Hey, nice going, Arnold. Tell my buddy, truck driver, hello. Both you guys be careful out there on the road.
Did he have a question for us?
Oh, yeah, you got a question for us, Arnold?
Yeah, I got a sports question for you.
These two
Sorry,
guys
Tim's
are ready.
Not there, but all right. Joe Youngblood, you ever heard of him? He was a major league outfielder. You ever heard of him? On August 4th, 1982. August 4th, 1982, he did something that no other major league player has ever done. Can you tell me what that was?
I have no idea. Need Tim, don't we?
Boy,
we need Tim.
Now, Tim would know, but that's going to be a good trivia thing to know.
We have no idea.
Yeah. What's the answer?
All right. Well, he played for the Cubs in the morning. He got a single. That afternoon, he was traded to the Montreal Expos. Went to Montreal that afternoon. Got another single. And so he's the only player that has got two singles on the same day with two different teams in two different cities.
That is awesome.
Why
man.
is a guy like that getting traded?
My middle son Matthew may have known that he's a Cubby fan from way back.
Oh,
man.
wow!
Yeah,
Really, if you think of that, that's crazy trivia right there.
It is.
He's telling his grandkids, if he's still living, telling them that story.
Hey, Arnold, thank you for that. That's interesting. That's great, brother. Appreciate it. Let's go to Texas and talk to Michael. Michael, thank you for calling.
Yes, I'm going to answer the question on the Fisher of Rolando.
Oh, I want to know the answer.
Thank you, because a lot of people
question.
are concerned about overdoing it this weekend and throwing out their Fisher of Rolando. Michael,
they should be.
Here's the question. Yeah. Hey, be like the person who I pulled up behind a pickup truck. It said, yes, this is my truck, and no, I won't help you move. So here's the question. In what part of your body will you find the Fisher of Rolando? Tell everybody, Michael the doctor or Michael the nurse. What's the answer?
Well, for those that have one, it's a brain.
Right.
It's in the central part of the brain.
Part of your brain.
On the right What it does, it's a deep groove, and it's on the lateral surface of the brain. It's only that particular one is only in vertebrates, meaning us, and those have a spine. It's also known, like I remember reading this. It's called the central sulcus. So if you're bored, just look it up and look at the brain, and it'll show you the central sulcus. And it's what it does. It divides the motor sensory areas of the brain.
Okay.
So from the frontal lobe to the anterior into the frontal lobe, and then to the posterior, the parietal lobe. Anyway,
well,
if I lost you, sorry.
No. I was just going to say, if I ever get down and out, do you mind doing surgery on me? Because if you got some stuff in your tackle box, you can cut me open, and
that's awesome.
I'll let you put me back together, buddy.
And I was going to say that I have a brain, but my wife sometimes says I don't have a spine. I'm not sure how that works for a vertebrate. But
Michael, our listeners are curious. Are you a doctor or a nurse practitioner? What's your medical role?
My medical role? Well, quickly, I was a professional dancer for over 25 years. During that time when I was in college, I took anatomy, physiology, so now for the past 40 years, when I was dancing too, I also trained people, weights and everything. So you learn the body and muscles, bones, tendons, ligaments, connective tissue, all those things, and the brain. Believe it or not, when you're working out, the brain is also affected because of the release of endorphins, and you get that high and the release there. So therefore, you can understand, like when I deal with people that have motor issues as they get older. So I deal with that. And anyway,
that is great.
That's fascinating.
Yeah, that's
way to go, man.
Thank you for sharing that. God bless you. Hey, did you have a question for us?
History one. It's about World War I.
All right.
Okay, here we go. What was the incident that brought us into World War I?
Was it the sinking of the Lusitania?
Well, you could say that, but there was another one, and I'm going to help you out. It was a communique that was intercepted.
Who was the communique between?
Germany and Mexico.
Oh, okay. I do remember some of that because they were talking about that, and then that communique seemed like it was used in Mexico as a launching pad into the States, if I remember it right. Is that close to it, Michael?
I knew this at one time, but it's in the closet
somewhere. That is
somewhere.
correct. What Germany said was that they would, if you help us invade the southern part of the United States, we'll give you Texas, New Mexico, Arizona,
and the Gadsden Purchase.
And the Gadsden Purchase.
Yeah, they wanted to get back.
What was the name of the communique?
It's a good question. I just remember reading it in history,
it's got some.
I never.
It's got some name, and I just.
It's up there in the fissure of somewhere. And you got to find it.
That's it.
Hey, Michael, thank you, man.
Thanks,
it's been
buddy.
a great call, man.
Yeah.
What an interesting background.
Yeah, it is.
Hey, let's go ahead and reset our questions again.
Okay, here's my question. Which city has hosted the most Super Bowls? Which president served in Congress after his time in the White House? And what is a group of flamingos called?
Man, I want to hear the answer to that one too. All right, my 3 questions. I'm going to add a question. How many NFL quarterbacks have won 3 straight Super Bowls? Second question, in 1954, the U.S. launched the first nuclear-powered submarine. What was the name of that submarine? And then third question, which country has the most Olympic medals in swimming? Which country has the most Olympic medals in swimming?
Well, my 3 questions were nearly answered back-to-back, so I'll give 3 new ones. First question, I cannot believe I'm asking this. This is my first hockey question ever.
Wow.
In honor of my longtime dear friend, Ed Vitagliano. What was Wayne Gretzky's jersey number during his professional career? What was Wayne Gretzky's jersey number during his professional career? Maybe too easy for hockey fans, but the rest of us we don't know so much about that.
Yeah,
second question, Bible question. Moses had an older brother and an older sister. Name them. Name Moses. Name his sister and brother.
We've already had the mother. Now,
yeah.
So I'm going to ask about the dad pretty soon. No, go ahead.
You ask when they get to the family reunion. Ask what they're going to be having. What's the meal? What's the menu? And here's what I got. You guys may have forgotten this. Sunday is Groundhog's Day. So Gobbler's Knob, Pennsylvania, the groundhog, if he sees a shadow, it's a sign that we'll have at least 6 more weeks of winter weather. That famous groundhog, it's been going on since the 1880s.
Wow.
Name the groundhog. Name that famous groundhog from Gobbler's Knob, Pennsylvania.
That is great. Okay, let's go to Mississippi and talk to Buddy. Buddy, thank you for calling.
Thank you, sir. I just have a question for you people.
Okay, go right ahead. We'll try it.
Well, in the United States, in the very southern section, we'll say, of the eastern side, what sport was participated in the most southern part of the East Florida, we know. But what sport between two gentlemen was they threw a ball against that would at least be over 100 miles per hour at each other?
What sport? Throwing a ball.
Okay, we're gonna talk amongst ourselves, buddy. So don't say yes or no. What do you call that? Was it high lie or something? Where they?
Oh, the Indians,
yeah,
Native Americans with the basket on the stick.
Yeah,
I bet that's what it's going to be. I'm sorry, it took me a second because he took me back to middle school in dodgeball.
Oh, I thought
I was having a little PTSD about the ball coming at you 100 miles an hour.
I thought it was lawn darts. But
hey,
that's just
great.
a guess.
No, that's excellent.
That's only one I'd figure out.
Native American with that little basket with a handle on it.
Now, I'm not sure that's high lie. I know that like in southern Florida, they play that with something they hold in their hand and they whip that ball.
Let's go with that.
But, all right. How do we do, buddy?
I guess I could take one of a question from you real quick. It would be a sport question.
Well, what's the answer to
How
the
do we
question?
do on that one?
Give me the other one. One is that answered. The other sport would be, or either you once had a Christmas for the country of Australia that had Christmas during the summer. Now, what area in this side of the world, the Western Hemisphere, they also celebrate Christmas
in the summer. Well, I'm not sure about that, but how did we do answering the question that you asked us?
What about the fastballs?
What was the name of that sport?
That's highlight.
Oh, okay. You got it right. Way to go.
Well, we're not sure about the other. You'll have to go ahead and give us the answer. Who has Christmas in the summertime?
In this hemisphere? It would be Argentina.
Argentina.
Okay.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you, buddy.
God bless you. Have a great weekend.
Okay.
Great question.
Yeah, let's go to South Carolina and talk to Philip. Philip, thank you for calling.
How's it going, guys? Y'all doing all right today?
Doing well. Love South Carolina. What part are you from, Philip?
Greenville area.
Okay, great area up there. The up country, not the low country.
Hey, we our family already mentioned this once on the show. We traveled from Mississippi to Maine. We took off from Tupelo, Mississippi. They had everything mapped out. We didn't quite make our destination where we were hoping to go because we got clogged up in Atlanta traffic. So we just said, here we go.
In Atlanta?
We said, here we go, Greenville, South Carolina. Let's just stop here for the night. And I mentioned this on Facebook, mentioned it on the radio. We were amazed at how clean the streets, the people friendly.
Wow.
It was my first time to be there. The hotel, the people at the front desk, just people that we pulled in to get gas. You got a really, really friendly place there to live, as you well know.
Spartanburg, Greenville, Travelers Rest, all around there. It's awesome.
It was our first time to be there, so I want to give a shout out for somebody. You guys are doing it right there.
Yeah. Wow. Hey, Philip, what question you want to answer?
The Super Bowl one.
All right. Let me ask the question again. How many NFL quarterbacks have won 3 straight Super Bowls, Philip?
No, I was going with what city has had the most Super Bowls.
Oh, okay. My bad.
Okay.
Sorry.
Which city has hosted the most Super Bowls?
That would be Miami.
That is correct.
Hey! There you go.
That is awesome. Now, guess what's going to happen? Guess where it is this year? It's in New Orleans.
New Orleans.
That'll bring it up to 11. That's the reason I emphasize has.
Right. I thought you said that with a little bit of an asterisk in your voice.
Yeah, great. New Orleans and Miami after this Super Bowl will be tied at 11, and then Los Angeles comes in at 8 and 9. Reason I say 8, it was in the Los Angeles area, and they had to move it out. But the others are about 3 or 4.
That's
but
great.
11 in New Orleans and Miami. Great.
Hey, Philip,
great.
you know what that cowbell means?
I'm a special answer.
Yes, sir. The mystery question. You won yourself a really nice AFR ball cap. We've only offered these for a couple of months. It really is a great looking ball cap. So before you get off the phone, stay on the line so they can get your address to send that to you.
We'll put you on hold.
But what's your question for us?
Okay, so my question is going to be a two-parter. Okay, so the first question is going to be, what city is the largest rattlesnake roundup? And the second part is going to be, do you know what year it had the most rattlesnakes caught?
It's over beyond Midland. I just drew a blank over from Abilene, just right outside of, not at Midland, right outside of Abilene. Not Sweetwater. What is the name? But anyway, go ahead.
There you got it. You had it. It was Sweetwater.
Sweetwater, and then how many? They when they go out and collect them, they put them in a swimming pool because there's so many, hundreds and hundreds.
Yeah.
What's the answer?
So in 2016, they had over 24,000 pounds.
Wow,
24,000 pounds.
Hey,
wow.
Phillip, we're going to put you on hold so we can get your information and send you the ball cap. Folks, we're going to take a 5-minute break for news, and when we come back, last part of our journey together here on Trivia Friday. We'll hope you join us.
The views and opinions expressed in this broadcast may not necessarily reflect those of the American Family Association or American Family Radio.
Faith, family, freedom. American Family Radio.
As a federal or state employee, you have the opportunity to support the American Family Association through the combined federal campaign. By designating a monthly payroll deduction using 12037, you help AFA continue to fight for your family. So when you complete your CFC form, remember, AFA's number is 12037. And thank you for your help.
This is American Family Radio, a listener-supported ministry of the American Family Association.
American Family News, I'm Rusty Key. Rich Edson has the latest about the investigation into the Army helicopter that collided with a passenger jet in D.C., killing 67 people.
The Pentagon says that investigators are focused on the altitude of the aircraft. With the investigation ongoing, President Trump posted on social media this morning, quote, "The Black Hawk helicopter was flying too high by a lot. It was far above the 200-foot limit. That's not really too complicated to understand, is it?" Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth also said that while there's a pause on this specific exercise, training throughout the military will continue. The Pentagon described the Black Hawk flight Tuesday as a routine nighttime qualification flight, taking the pilot through airspace that they'd have to fly through as part of their job.
Meanwhile, President Trump is ordering a review of DEI in aviation, which was pushed by former Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg, warning that it may have played a role in this tragedy.
How badly everything's run since he's run this Department of Transportation. He's a disaster. He was a disaster as a mayor. He ran his city into the ground, and he's a disaster now. The Department of Transportation, his government agency charged with regulating civil aviation. Well, he runs it, 45,000 people, and he's run it right into the ground with his diversity.
And Fox's Ainsley Earhart reveals more troubling information about DEI hiring.
There's a lawsuit that alleged that the FAA turned away nearly 1,000 air traffic controller applicants solely based on race last year. And then there is a report that the FAA launched a national outreach program for DEI, which included a push to hire workers with severe intellectual disabilities and psychiatric problems.
The White House has finally revealed the origin of the mysterious drones that filled the skies at the end of 2024. But observers are convinced that we haven't gotten all the answers.
At the beginning of her first official news conference at the White House, Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt revealed to reporters about the origin of the mystery drones flying over New Jersey and other parts of the country.
After research and study, the drones that were flying over New Jersey in large numbers were authorized to be flown by the FAA for research and various other reasons. Many of these drones were also hobbyists, recreational, and private individuals that enjoy flying drones. In time, it got worse due to curiosity. This was not the enemy.
Bob McGinnis is a senior fellow for national security at the Family Research Council and author of Preparing for World War III. He is skeptical.
We deserve far more explanation than we've had. There may be national security reasons for not saying any more, which is not unusual. It could well be something far more sinister than any of us suspect, and that the administration does not want to alarm the American people.
Gary Bauer is chairman of the Campaign for Working Families. He agrees with McGinnis.
No, I don't think the issue's closed. I don't think it's over. I don't think their investigation's finished. I think they'll keep digging around.
A new poll finds most millennials and Gen Zers support limits on abortion.
The research was done by the Dimitri Institute for Pro-Life Advancement, a project of Students for Life of America. Talking about this on Washington Watch, Kristen Hawkins of Students for Life said the poll counters what people hear in the legacy mainstream media.
Almost 7 in 10, which is up from last year, of Gen Z and Gen Y voters, which, by the way, is the largest demographic in our electorate, the least church, the most liberal. Almost 7 in 10 support limits on abortion. That's something that you never hear.
63% of people surveyed said they would accept restrictions on abortions after 12 and a half weeks. 66% said they would be fine with abortion restrictions after 24 weeks.
9 out of 10 young voters said if a baby is born alive during a botched abortion, he or she should receive help. 48%, so almost half of youth voters oppose Planned Parenthood receiving $700 million in taxpayer funds.
Hawkins went on to say that this is why pro-lifers and Republicans need to, quote, be louder about the extremism of Democrats. I'm Chris Woodward.
For American Family News, I'm Muskie Pugh.
Preborn would like to thank AFR listeners for your prayer and financial support. During our special Preborn campaign, as a result of your donations, 4,500 babies will be saved and their mothers will hear the gospel. Just $28 pays for a free ultrasound, and when an abortion-minded mother sees her baby, she's likely to choose life. Learn more at preborn.com. Please continue to pray for Preborn and give as you're able. On behalf of unborn babies and their mothers, again, thank you.
This is Trivia Friday. The number to call with your question or your answer to a question is 888-589-8840. Now, back to more Trivia Friday.
And welcome back to Trivia Friday. Ed Vitagliano sitting in for Tim Wildman. Today, joined in studio by Brother Bert Harper and J.J. Jasper. The number to call if you want to get on the program with us today is 888-589-8840. It's January 31st. Let's make the last day of January memorable.
A little bit of housekeeping. You weren't in the thing the other day when we were doing our groundhog party. You drew my name, Ed. So if you can just kind of go all out and don't be a cheapskate. Really give your best gift.
Don't keep it under the ground. I mean, come on.
Yeah. Give me something really nice for Groundhog's Day.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I believe me, I have something in mind for you.
Hey,
you're going to get exactly what you deserve.
Hey, Groundhog's Day usually doesn't land on a Sunday, but that's Sunday. So whether or not that little rodent sees his shadow, forget Doppler radar and throw your farmer's almanac away. We're putting all of our faith in an overgrown beaver to tell us we're going to have 6 more weeks of winter weather.
All right, let's go back to the phone.
Okay, let's go to Illinois and talk to Sherry. Sherry, thank you for calling.
Well, I'm so happy to be on Trivia Friday.
Well,
Wonderful.
Yeah. You haven't tried for 9 years, have you, Sherry?
This is my first time ever calling, and I got right in.
Wow.
Now, see?
Outstanding.
What a contrast. Yeah.
Outstanding.
Yes,
where do you live in
I called
Illinois?
I live down at the southern tip of Illinois in a small town called Tams.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
All right. Well, Sherry,
we're-
welcome to Trivia Friday. Since it's your first time, do you want to ask, answer, or do both?
Let's see. I will answer the question, if it's still available, about Moses, brother and sister.
Yes, here's the question. Moses had an older brother and an older sister. Name them.
I hope I'm correct. Aaron and Miriam?
That's exactly right. Yes.
That's right.
I think his mom was, we said earlier, Jochebed.
Jochebed or Jochebed.
Yes.
And he had a dad, too, by the way. We may throw that out some other time.
Yeah, save
that, right?
You save those questions. It's like gold
Now,
when you have to look them up.
People know about, and when I picture Moses, I see Charlton Heston, or the Moses on the cover of Experiencing God. And then I never thought about Aaron being his older brother. That threw me off, that Aaron is older than Moses because he just seems larger than life and the older grandfather, coming down with the 10 Commandments and all of the other. But, yeah, you got it right. What's your question for us?
I did have to look this up. What is the longest Bible verse in the King James? It has 90 words.
Longest
in the verse.
Bible verse.
In the King James Bible.
Now, if you put it in the Amplified, it would have 180.
Yeah,
that's right.
Here's the deal. It's in First Faulkner. That's the book of the Bible it's in. Faulkner had a little bit to do with writing it. No, I don't know. What
The
guys are going to
longest
be
verse.
Yeah, I can visualize it and see it, and I cannot locate it.
You better help
That's
us
when
out.
we need Alex McFarland.
That's
Yes,
right.
that's
What's
right.
the answer?
Okay, it is Esther, chapter 8, verse 9.
Okay, 90 words.
Wow.
90 words in the
Okay.
Oh,
King James Version.
Okay.
And you know, while
Because
everybody,
the other version had about 80 words.
Okay.
Okay.
and while we're saying interesting things about the Bible, which is the living Word of God, it's alive, it's active, it was God breathed. We want to encourage you to read your Bible every day. We pray. That's simply talking to God. If you want God to talk to you, if you want Him to nudge your heart, to reveal Himself to you, if you'll open up the pages of Scripture, He'll
Amen.
do that.
He'll do it.
Even if you read your Bible 5 minutes a day. So that's something we can't overstate. But Esther, unique little trivia, God is not mentioned in the entire book of Esther. Isn't that
there's-
something?
But there's no other book that shows you the hand of God more than Esther.
That's right.
And how God operates.
You see how He's working
Yes.
and He's sovereign, and you see all the workings of God, and there's prayer and there's fasting mentioned, but the name God is not mentioned in the book of Esther.
Yeah.
So a little
Amen.
trivia for us while we're sort of throwing these trivia answers and questions around.
Thank you, Sherry.
Amen.
Yeah.
Great question.
Let's go to JJ's other home in Kansas and talk to Earl. Earl, thank you for calling. Earl, are you there? Earl from Kansas.
They might have to take your phone off.
Yeah, there you are, Earl. We waited on you, man. I'm glad you made it. Yeah.
Well, it's kind of funny because
Okay.
I just called at the last minute, right during your last commercial break. You got through.
Hey, Earl, we can't hear you. Hey, Earl, get a little better reception or stand a little closer to the phone, buddy. You're real muffled.
Am I coming in better now?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Way to go, Earl.
Loud and clear.
You want to ask, answer, or
Okay.
do both?
Well, here's the deal. I was
there you
pondering
go.
one question, and I thought, hey, I know the answer to that. And now I realize it's an incorrect answer, but I'll try it anyway.
All right. What question is it?
The quarterback question.
All right.
Please,
Here, I'm going to repeat it, Earl. for those who are just tuning in, how many NFL quarterbacks have won 3 straight Super Bowls?
Initially, I was thinking, hey, Earl Morrall maybe, because he was with the Colts when they beat the Cowboys, and he was with the Dolphins when they won 2 in a row. But in between, he would have lost, I think, with the Dolphins that first year against Dallas. So,
Yeah, it's got to be three straight Super Bowls.
Yeah, so I'm not even – I didn't even have that one right.
All right, I'm going to give you a little bit of a hint, Earl, okay? It's a trick question. How about taking another shot?
Mm.
All right, that's all right. We'll move
Save
on.
it.
Yeah, we'll save it.
What's your question for us?
What's your question
I
for
could
us?
always fall back on – I stumped you once before with the Wolfman Jack's real name, if you remember that.
I do
from a couple
remember
years
that.
back.
I remember the question. I don't remember the answer. You can ask it again. You'd stump me again.
Yeah, I would be stumped again.
What's your question, Earl?
There was a couple singers back in the late 70s. Paul Davis and Dorothy Moore. And I realize there's at least a third one, but I can't think of her name, that shared the same birth state. They were born in the same state. And in case you don't remember, maybe Paul Davis had "I Go Crazy."
Tim would know the
Tim would know the answer.
And Dorothy Moore had a cover version of Misty Blue. But I just thought you might just randomly guess what state they were born in.
No, I don't know.
All right, I'm just going to guess
Kansas, because he's in Kansas.
Yeah,
and I'm gonna guess Mississippi. It just says to be an outlier. What's the answer?
I'm going to
Earl?
say Kansas.
Okay, one of you is right.
Okay, which?
Mississippi.
Paul Davis. Way to go.
Nice
done,
listen, Ed.
You guys give me a pat on the back. That was just a total guess.
Well, truthfully, a lot of musicians have come out of Mississippi. So that was not necessarily an outlier. That was a pretty.
You got the Blues, who a lot
man.
of people claim they were actually born in the Delta.
Yeah.
So lots
a guy named Elvis, I think it's from Mississippi somewhere.
That's
somewhere close by. Okay,
hey,
thank you, Earl.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Okay, let's go to Arkansas and talk to PJ. PJ, thank you for calling.
Howdy.
Yes, sir. Howdy to you. You have a question or answer or both?
Well, I've got a good signal now. I'm out here on my stump, so I'll get a better signal.
Yes, sir. I think you and I have the same phone plan.
Can you?
Yeah.
We can hear you now. Okay, go ahead, PJ.
The first nuclear sub.
All right, let me repeat the question, PJ. In 1954, the U.S. launched the first nuclear-powered submarine. What was it called? What was its name?
It was called the Nautilus.
The Nautilus.
Oh, wow.
All right,
Way to go.
PJ, I'm going to, for a hat, all right, for one of our ball caps.
Here we go.
Can you tell me why it was named the Nautilus?
Well, I tell you what, I do have a couple of tie-ins. I was born in 1954, and my uncle was a lieutenant on the Nautilus.
Wow.
But I do not know that.
Okay.
Here's the deal.
All right.
There were some people that loved working out, and this one old boy was in his den working out on a piece of equipment. So I like this Nautilus equipment I'm working out on. If I ever get a chance to design a sub, I think I'm just going to carry that name over, and it'd make a good name for a nuclear submarine.
So you don't know the reason why it was named, right, PJ? I don't want to cut you off.
No,
okay.
Just that my uncle was a lieutenant on it, and I was born in 54.
All right.
Wow.
It was named after the submarine on in the book 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea.
I would have guessed it right. I thought that was
your guess.
Yeah.
That was Jules Verne, who was the author.
That's great.
That.
Way to
So they
go,
named
Ed.
it after that book.
Yeah.
So
okay.
all right, PJ, what's your question for us?
Well, whose ear did Peter cut off?
They actually name his name.
Malchus.
Malchus.
There you go.
Which ear was it?
Well,
Left
y'all
or right?
finding frogs here split three ways.
Well, I forgot the name, but Ed jumped right on it.
Does it say which side?
No, it does not. But how, everybody, I remember this. How do you cut an ear off without hitting the head or the shoulder? And it is probably he ducked.
Yeah.
And then when Peter came across.
Took a swipe.
Got his ear. He wasn't just aiming for his ear. Just
and if you get someone's ear, you're playing for keeps.
Yeah, you are.
And you're swinging a sword.
Think of President Trump, ear.
Yeah.
And later,
Yeah.
little known backstory, later when Shakespeare fellow was writing them stories and said, lend me your ear, he used that as a reference.
Way to go, PJ. Thank you, man. It's a joy. Are we ready?
We're ready.
Yeah, let's go to Kansas. Scott, thank you for calling.
Yes, sir. I'm glad to be on the show again.
Well, we're glad to have you again. Do you want to answer or ask or both?
Well, I'll just ask because the previous caller answered the Nautilus question, and I'm not sure what the other questions were, but just save time. I have a question for Brother Bert Harper.
Oh, man.
I tell you what. No
I
pressure. Let's reset our questions.
Yeah, let us reset our questions.
For the last time.
If you don't know any of those, that's fine, but we'll reset them one last time. Maybe something will jog your memory.
Okay, I have to. Which president served in Congress after his time in the White House? And what is a group of flamingos called?
All right, and I will give my last two. First one, how many NFL quarterbacks have won 3 straight Super Bowls? And then which country has the most Olympic medals in swimming?
What was Wayne Gretzky's jersey number? And my other question, Gobbler's Knob, Pennsylvania, Groundhog Day is this Sunday. That famous groundhog there, name him. They're at Gobbler's Knob, Pennsylvania.
Scott,
name the groundhog.
Any of those?
Well, the groundhog, is it Punxsutawney Phil or something like that?
Oh, that's it.
Punxsutawney Phil, that's it.
That's it.
Since 1880s, they've been doing that, and pretty accurate. If you just want to forget all about Doppler radar, turn off the Weather Channel, you can just watch and see what he does, whether or not he sees a shadow.
Okay, Scott, you have a question for JJ, is that right?
No, question for Brother Bert. Go ahead, Scott.
Go ahead.
Andy Griffith.
Oh,
good.
Okay.
He's ready.
Pickle episode.
Yes.
My favorite.
What did Barney and Andy call Aunt Bee's pickles?
Kerosene.
Kerosene cucumbers.
All right, but the follow-up to that is, what did they nickname the next thing she made at the end of the show?
Oh, man.
All right,
you
end
remember
of the
that
show.
Kerosene cucumbers. You guys are good.
Okay, all right. So, Scott, let me just give just a little tiny backstory. Most people have seen the abbreviated versions of the Andy Griffith Show. If you have, like, on DVD, or sometimes you can watch where the commercials went at the end when they're in reruns, there's a little clip at the end from when they came back.
Yeah.
And that's probably where that is. And I've seen it. It's my favorite episode, and I cannot remember what they come back for. So.
You gonna help us out, Scott?
Learn us something, Scott.
I just watched it on MeTV the other evening, and so that was on there. It was marmalade, but what did they call the marmalade? They were putting it on on some toast. Andy smelled something, wondered if there was a gas leak.
Oh, man. Poor Ed.
They just can't write them like that now.
No.
Go ahead, Scott. We're ready, man.
There's a gas leak.
Well, it was the ammonia marmalade.
Ammonia marmalade. Oh, that's
got me
good.
choked up.
But since you got the first part right, I'm going to do something for you.
Go ahead. Oh, man.
There you go.
Excellent.
Well, thank you, Scott.
That's a long-time listener. Thank you, Scott.
For all of those folks that do not watch the Andy Griffith Show, get a life.
Yeah, you're missing something.
We've had 2 callers from Kansas. If I can throw out, I'm going to be in Newton, Kansas, May the 31st and June the 1st.
Well, and while you're on the subject, give where else you're going to be.
And I would appreciate prayers. Tuesday, I'm going to be at Bellevue Baptist Church in Memphis, Tennessee. a conference. I'm one of 4 speakers. February the 16th, Locksburg First Baptist Church. And you're invited.
That's in Arkansas.
Arkansas. Locksburg, Arkansas. February the 23rd, Marietta Springs Community Church, formerly Marietta United Methodist Church. That's in Marietta, Mississippi. It's a Sunday evening meal and a message, and my wife Melanie and I, they want both of us to come to share our story about our son Cooper, the tragedy on our family farm, and how God was faithful to offer hope on the other side of tragedy.
Amen.
Most of the time, I'm in the interim pastor, but this Saturday and Sunday, I'm going to be in Starkville, Mississippi at Meadowview Baptist Church. Saturday night, it's a men's meal, and they probably are already filled up. But Sunday morning, I'll be at Meadowview Baptist Church in Starkville, Mississippi.
Wonderful.
Well, now, since we're all talking, now Sunday morning, we attend Hope Church here in Tupelo. Guys, guess where I'm going to be Sunday afternoon? At home. So y'all pray for me.
That's right.
I'll be at home doing
Pray
nothing.
that you get enough sleep there on
Way
the
to
couch.
go ahead.
Yeah.
Hey, we got time. Let's go to Mississippi and talk to Robert. Robert, thank you for calling.
Praise the Lord. How y'all doing?
We're doing good, man. Good for you to get in. Go ahead.
Yes. Okay. I want to do both.
Okay. Which question?
All right. I want to answer the quarterback.
All right, here's Robert. Here's the question: how many NFL quarterbacks have won 3 straight Super Bowls?
0.
0 is correct.
Oh, you said it was a trick question.
I said it was a little bit of a trick question there, but
They've been 2, but not 3.
This upcoming Super Bowl between the Kansas City Chiefs and the Philadelphia Eagles, Patrick Mahomes could become the first quarterback to win 3 in a row. He's won 2 in a row up to now.
There have been one team has won 6 Super Bowls. A couple of teams have tied. A couple have tied to win 5. A couple have tied. 3 have tied to win 4. But nobody's ever won 3 in a row. That may change next Sunday.
Yes, that's true. That could be the first time for a team to win 3 in a row as well.
Hey, Robert, you got a question for us?
Yes, and it's a local sports question.
Okay.
In the state of Mississippi, there was a high school football team that won 2 championship football games 1 year after the other in 2 different classifications. Who was it?
Is that going to be Tupelo winning the 6A and then 7A?
Well, no, it was before that. It was in 2001 or 2002, I think it was.
Huh.
Was it North Panola?
North Panola was involved. Yes, North Panola was involved in that game.
So they lost. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, I don't know.
Hey, that online detective course you took, that paid off. Ed, you got your money's worth.
That's
right.
Hey.
Oh man, I
think
we're stumped. What's the answer?
Yeah, Wayne County.
Wayne County, way down south.
Now, did you play or have somebody play for the team?
No, I was. I'm a transplant from Oregon, but I was living here in Mississippi in Wayne County at that time, and they beat North Panola, and then the following they beat them in 4A, or it might have been 5A, and then they came back the next year and beat Warren, I think it was, or someone else in 3A.
Warren
Central. They were first team so far.
Yeah,
and for people across the country, they don't realize how the Panola County is serious about football. They always have winning teams.
It was a university.
Now how did they go down
in
a
classification,
division, or is that up?
Well, the higher number, the greater the
population.
Enrollment. Yeah. So,
But they went from 4A to 3A?
Yeah, you can be right on the edge,
Oh, okay. All right.
go down 4 students and go into a whole different classification.
Okay.
Sure
All
can.
right.
Hey, Robert, thank you, man.
Thank you. Good trivia.
Guess what we're going to do? We're going to go to Robert in Mississippi.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Hey, Robert from Mississippi. Okay. 2 in a row. Now, if we get 3 in a row, that'll be a record.
That's
going to be a sign that the Chiefs are going to win.
Hey, Robert, you got
Yes, sir.
Yeah, question or answer?
Or both.
I'd like to ask you a question, please.
Go right ahead.
Okay, which prophet in the Old Testament had neither glaucoma nor cataracts?
Which prophet in the Old Testament All right, hang on. Don't say anything, Robert. We're going to talk amongst ourselves.
This is something where, I'm thinking about like when Joshua or whoever said, I can take that hill. I'm as strong as I was. And I can see as good as I think that's where he's going with that. One of the prophets
that was Caleb.
Caleb's
said,
give me the high country. Give me the biggest challenge because I can fight. I have my strength.
But this is somebody who doesn't see well.
No, he said that he didn't have cataracts.
Cataracts.
Didn't.
Yeah, and it's something about I can see just as good as I'm just throwing that out as a little bit of a guess.
Moses also said the same thing. He was at 120.
And his eyes fail him.
I'm going to say Moses. I'm going to go with Moses. That's right.
All right, what's the answer, Robert?
That's right. Moses, Deuteronomy chapter 28, his eye grew not dim as opposed to Eli. Eli's eye was dim, so he had either cataracts or glaucoma.
Yeah.
That's good. Wow. Yeah, and you know what? It's interesting, all the details, because you've got how they deceived his father, and he was wanting Jacob and Esau to come close to me because his eyesight had gone, and the mom, put the goat's hair because you had the difference between Jacob and his brother, and so he could, he had lost his sight. So it's neat how many details that the Bible includes.
And all the other writings that claim to be really inspired, they lack those details, and they don't predict what's going to happen 800 years ahead of time.
Right.
Well, Eli was not a good
wasn't a good dad.
So, and my eyes are growing dim, so I hope I'm not an Eli. I'd rather be on the Moses side, but I'm probably not close to that either. All right.
Right.
Robert, thank you so much. You have a blessed weekend, brother, and thank you for being an AFR listener or a listener to Trivia Friday.
Or be a Samuel or a Joseph, somebody
Amen.
that you never heard anything negative said.
Let's give some of our answers.
Which president served in Congress after his time in the White House?
Okay, it's one of those like in the 20s. Was it I can't
His
remember.
dad
That's
was
the
president, too.
Roosevelt?
John Quincy Adams.
Oh, Quincy
Wow,
Adams.
nice.
And what is a group of flamingos called?
I have no idea.
A flamboyance.
A flamboyant.
A flamboyance.
Yeah.
Isn't that good?
All right, which country has the most Olympic medals in swimming, guys?
USA.
South Korea.
USA. That's all I've got.
Wayne Gretzky.
99.
Flamingos. My wife, Melanie, told me pretty strongly, she said to quit doing my flamingo impersonation. Brother Bert, I had to put my foot down.
So
just so everybody knows I wear the pants in my family.
I hope you're not laughing, folks. He does not need encouragement.
Dad jokes, where would we be without dad
We're
jokes?
done. More great programming directly ahead on American Family Radio. Thank you for tuning in.